Jackie Christie pretended to be the kind of lady reality TV likes to flaunt in front of the cameras for years. Despite the endless rumor cycles, she stayed at Doug Christie's side because she was fiercely protective of her spouse, devoted to the bone, and sharp-tongued when needed. The unspoken reports from insiders and the blogs that consistently found a way to get notice. She would promptly put an end to any gossip that started to spread about his allegiance. She would intimidate them, help producers, or suppress them if a website ventured to print a headline that included his name and the term affair. It would be a conversation on a more glamorous subject. She was sitting in the front row during his appearances, her hand on his arm, and she was grinning in public. In private, she served as a human shield, keeping her family safe while silently gushing from wounds that were never reported to the public. Nice name. However, one thing about trust is that it doesn't softly warn you when it cracks. Instead, it bursts. The day Jackie saw that clip, it burst. The film was so raw, unrefined, and uneditable that despite her years of skill, she was unable to save it. Doug Christie and Malaysia Pargo were in what was obviously a hotel suite. It wasn't a gathering. It was not a friendly lunch. Since the video showed them up close, intimate, and personal, there was no room for disagreement. The kind of video in which the image provided the whole narrative without the need for words or context. It was more than just cheating. For Jackie, it was a declaration of war. Moreover, this wasn't from an unknown or random individual, shrewd. She had embraced her, shielded her on reunion sofas, welcomed her into her inner circle, and trusted her in areas that were never intended for outsiders. It was Malaysia. It had a distinct burn. It was a personal and surgical betrayal that cut through all the bonds of devotion Jackie had built up in her marriage. She didn't weep. She remained calm, a dot, drinking wine while listening to gloomy music on the sofa. Jackie felt something hotter, rage, the sort that doesn't whisper but roars. It's the kind that spreads and takes time to disappear. And it took her directly into the night that would go down in her life as the most infamous. The night was going to be a high-profile fashion event, full of glamour. Camera flashes electrify the air, and the type where champagne is supplied continuously. Jackie appeared in a stunning black gown that was a tight fit for her. Her heels appeared to herald her arrival by clicking against the Jackie Christie vs Malaysia Pargo's marble floor before she had even reached the corner. Celebrities, influencers, and people who feed on rumors but seem startled when it happens in front of them. The audience includes all of us. And suddenly she was there. Malaysia Pargo grinned as if she would never be touched, dressed in a silver garment that shone in the sunlight. That grin was the match. Without warning, Jackie picked up the wine glass in front of her. A crimson liquid caught the light in midair as the glass slashed across the room. It hit Malaysia's face with a glass fragment and fluid. Gasps turned into screams. People pulled out their phones. Everything stopped dead in its tracks. The security team did not act fast enough. Jackie was already lunging, her hands in Malaysia's hair, her words spouting fire with every breath. Dresses tore in the haste. Someone's heel snapped. A table shifted. The area seemed to be holding its breath and gasping at the same time. With a smirk on her face, Jackie shouted above the chaos, "You slept with my husband." A slash on Malaysia's temple poured blood when security finally managed to separate them. "Do you really believe that I won't destroy this whole industry?" Jackie Christie's arrest. But Jackie wasn't quite done yet. Her eyes were focused on her goal as her body pushed forward, as if she were prepared to hit the whole structure with one more stroke. Within minutes, Jackie was in custody despite the police pushing through the crowd. As she was led away, cameras tracked her every move. Anger was still etched on her features. Even in handcuffs, she looked indestructible. A lady who has suffered injustice. A female who isn't fearful of losing the battle. By the time she was booked, the video had already gone viral. Instagram stories were used to loop it in. On Twitter, there were a dozen perspectives. TMZ was the headline. Jackie Christie bursts in a wine glass attack during a fashion event. Hashtags got viral. Cher's portrayal of Jackie answers. Chalk vengeance on the red carpet. Chuck Malaysia's mess. And what the internet does best, it did. Split up into two rival groups. Team Jackie praised her for refusing to tolerate treachery, using the phrase, "loyalty on fire." They posted recordings of her most violent reunion moments with the wine glass toss, calling it her ultimate form. She was instantly criticized by others for being careless, unprofessional, and a victim of domestic abuse. Even those who missed the telecast experienced obliged to comment on the controversial Malaysian reaction. Malaysia's staff, on the other hand, worked fast. Statements were sent to inboxes stating that the incident was violent and unwarranted, and that she was investigating her legal options and seeking medical assistance. Images started to go around. Malaysia backstage. Her face was injured. The strap of her dress ripped. Her face was being wiped by a paramedic. Jackie spent the night in a holding cell pacing the bite. Flooring made of concrete. She didn't sleep at all. She didn't weep. In a whisper, she repeated one syllable. Malaysia. No. When she was released on bail the next morning, mug shot was discovered. Movement. That's what her lawyer had made sure of. But a declaration was produced. Jackie. Christie experiences emotional sabotage and public humiliation. In addition to claiming responsibility for the episodes, intentional betrayal pushed her to the limit. She will assist the inquiry to the fullest extent possible. The language was intentional, regardless of what led to this episode. It presented her as the woman who, after being emotionally abused, finally lost it, rather than as the one who attacked. And that narrative received a great response from her fan base. To them, this wasn't senseless violence. This kind of justice was barbaric. Malaysia wasn't exactly silent, however. Less than a day after her release, Jackie posted a black square with white text to her Instagram grid. I went with peace. I'm angry, but I won't have a nasty reaction. Her fans' support was overwhelming into the comments, but she also neglected to answer several questions. Then the twist came. 2 days later, screenshots were posted on gossip websites. Like a siren, Doug Christie's words reached Malaysia. One sentence caught my attention. It was meaningless. I adore my spouse. You are aware that the leak changed the subject. Suddenly, Malaysia didn't resemble the other lady. She looked like the lady who had been discarded, publicly humiliated, and rejected as if she were nothing. Sympathy was altered. Online, a villain is well liked. Doug had just put himself up for the job. Christie stayed silent, just quiet. During all of this, Doug's silence. There were no interviews, no remarks, no subtitles, and the silence was overwhelming. Each rumor website has a concept by this particular point, for the purpose of being relevant. Others said that Malaysia was the one who leaked the tape. Some claimed that the ratings were being manipulated by a producer. But one whisper was becoming louder, that there had been prior planning and preparation for the whole incident. If so, Jackie's breakdown on reality TV was premeditated rather than just personal. The kind of occurrence that has the most power is an engineer day failure, to harm someone's reputation for good. Jackie wasn't going to let it happen in quiet. Not when there was still so much to learn. The morning following the chaos on the red carpet, Jackie's arrival in downtown Los Angeles seemed like the set of a live-action soap drama. News vans were sitting outside the courtroom before the sun had even risen. Camera crews were positioned along the stairs, focusing on the double doors where the greatest conversation took place. There will be a conflict in the city. It had a tight aura that might be punctured by a knife. Jackie Christie arrived first, stepping out of a black SUV in a specially made red power suit that may have been used as battle gear. The color was chosen for a purpose. She knew exactly how that would seem on film. Her chin was high. Her eyes were hidden by enormous sunglasses that did little to lighten her mood as she marched slowly. Her legal team, which included 2 astutely dressed attorneys and a young assistant who carried a heavy case file as if it contained the nuclear codes, trailed after her. Arrival of Malaysia. A few minutes later, Malaysia Pargo arrived. Her face was mostly hidden by enormous, stylish sunglasses, but a closer inspection showed a little amount of edema under her mouth, which was the result of a bandaged region near her hairline. Her cream-colored attire exuded tranquility despite her tense stance. Similar to a on each side of her, her lawyer and security detail stood, periodically placing a hand on her elbow to guide her through the throng of reporters shouting her name. The guy at the heart of it all, Doug Christie, then showed up. He went in alone. Without a wife or ally, there is no legitimate representation in plain sight. Just a guy carrying the weight of a scandal that might destroy 2 ladies, 10 years of public respect, and thousands of rumors. As if silently recognizing the disaster he had hauled into this courtroom. When he entered, even the judge paused for a second. Misdemeanor assault, the evidence, the official interpretation of the charges, the possibility of felony aggravation due to bodily harm, and continuing civil claims for psychological damage. But because of the dry legal easiness, the room remained the same. It was evidence. With a USB and a determined smile soon, Jackie's attorney appeared. The displays in the courtroom displayed a recovered audio recording that had been obtained from a backup, but had been deleted out of Malaysia's phone. A dot. Malaysia laughed with a guy who sounded almost like an industrial worker. As she said, "And I want her the second blow too. If Jackie finds out, she'll go nuclear," the audience gasped. Her voice was full of. The second blow was a screen capture allegedly taken by subpoena from Doug's private folder, showing messages exchanged between him and a completely different woman. Not Jackie, a third player, or Malaysia, while Jackie sat perfectly still across the aisle. Her hands folded in her lap, her lips curving in the slightest trace of agaran. Even the Malaysian lawyer tensed up. Few questions were raised by the texts. Doug had crossed one line and drew a whole map of betrayal. Journalists were scrolling madly. Someone in the gallery muttered, "Unbelievable," loud enough to make the bay sound a warning. Malaysia's face flashed in alarm as her head suddenly moved toward Doug. This was new to her, whatever else she thought was true. Doug Christie then emerged in the middle of it all. His voice was low at first, but it echoed throughout the quiet room. "I made a mistake," he said. "Not only with Jackie, not only with Malaysia. For years, I've been lying. I thought I could continue it all. I was mistaken." The confession did not clap. The worst suspicions that people had been holding since the tape leak appeared to be confirmed. Jackie's lawyer asked for a break. Outside in the hallway, cameras were set up everywhere. Most people thought Jackie would droop her head, ignore questions, or let her lawyer speak. But instead, she stopped in front of the microphones, removed her "You can't steal what was already rotting." "Malaysia didn't destroy my marriage. Doug did, but I let it rot. That's on me because Jackie wasn't just the irate wife the first time. She was the one who claimed that she had helped to keep the cracks unchecked, which ironically increased her risk in the court of public opinion." Sunglasses made a devastatingly honest statement that swiftly went viral on every gossip page. The next twist came during the prenuptial agreement afternoon session. Jackie's legal team disclosed a prenuptial agreement buried deep within her marriage contract. Any extramarital affair that causes financial loss or public embarrassment will trigger immediate forfeit of charity assets by the offending party. The words were devastating. Doug would lose almost everything. His voice cracked as he tried to protest, but the judge interrupted him with a sharp gavel. That may have been the end of the day, but Malaysia's lawyer wasn't finished yet. She stood up, holding her client's hand tightly, and declared that they needed to make one final statement before the next hearing. This included everything he and Jackie had created, including homes, investments, and even his share in certain joint ventures if it were implemented. The judge nodded slowly. Malaysia's voice was tremulous at first. "I didn't want to fall for Doug. He knew he was vulnerable. I kept the tape secret. I didn't want to hurt Jackie. I just wanted to be important." Her eyes welled, but she didn't break. Instead, she extracted time seemed to stop for a moment as she took a white envelope from her bag and set it on the bench in front of the judge, drawing the attention of everyone in the courtroom. "This is my unborn child's DNA test," she said. "Child. The father is Doug Christie," she added. Jackie's pen dropped out of her hand and clattered on the table, and Doug's knees bowed as though the floor Malaysia. While she spoke hesitantly, said, "I didn't plan this, but you deserve the truth. And this is mine," he said in a whisper across the distance after locking eyes with Jackie. As the courthouse emptied, reporters started yelling to their crews outside. And by the time Jackie arrived at her car, TMZ had already done the damage. The Y-judge courtroom shock promptly ordered a secret hearing, and the public and media were hustled out. The headline, "Malaysia Pargo Pregnant," was ridiculed. Doug Christie confirmed his father after the courtroom spectacle. An hour later, Jackie's fall went viral. Helicopters circled over her gated community, paparazzi gathered outside her driveway, and rumors quickly spread on social media. Was this the final straw or the start of a darker trend? Chapter, but no one saw Jackie. Not for 72 hours. In a city where scandal ages faster than, the truth was sharper and quieter. Jackie Christie wasn't hiding in shame. She was calculating. She understood something most people in a scandal never learn. The right silence is louder than any speech. Those 72 hours felt like 3 months. Every morning, show panel blogger could speculate about Jackie Christie's whereabouts and possible next move. And some of them cursed. When she did reappear, it was on a Sunday night without a red carpet or paparazzi alert. Just a simple Instagram live notification that Jackie Christie was going live, and tens of thousands of people flooded in within minutes. She was letting the headlines fight each other, letting the noise swirl until the exact moment she could step back into the center on her terms. Some claimed she had flown to another country to escape the chaos, while others claimed she was holed up in a luxury suite downtown, planning her retaliation with a team of public relations assassins. She said in a steady voice, "He gave Jackie Strikes Back a child." The lighting was raw, exposing every angle and shadow of her face, but her eyes had not dimmed. It was all black, not the sleek, tailored black of a red carpet villain, but the deep, unforgiving black of mourning. The comment section was filled with heart emojis, flame emojis, all caps, and instead of shouting, hurling anything, or throwing the tantrum everyone had been waiting for, Jackie sent a colder, harsher, and more definitive message: "Let the world have Doug." She reached down, lifted a tidy stack of papers into view, and held them there until everyone could see what they were. "These are divorce documents," she went on, "and it's officially finished. I'm picking myself. I don't bleed for anyone who wouldn't bleed for me." She ended the live stream without saying goodbye, without smiling, and without even letting the flurry of comments affect her. The screen went black, leaving everyone to mentally relive her words. The video went viral, with celebrities reposting it on their stories, influencers interpreting each sentence as though it were a rap verse, and the hashtags Malaysia Pargo's reaction music, "Talk Jackie Walks Away," was replaced by "Fawaka Crown Unshaken." The next morning, Malaysia Pargo posted her own statement, but it was softer and featured a warm-toned image of a sonogram with the straightforward caption, "New beginnings. No shame, only the truth." She didn't mention Jackie by name. She didn't defend herself, and it was the kind of behavior that caused rifts among the populace. When the interview went viral on YouTube, some saw it as deflection, while others saw it as grace. Doug Christie, on the other hand, thought it was time to voice his opinion, and he booked a seat at the Breakfast Club with the goal of charming his way through the immediate outcry. The comment section turned into a firing squad. "Doug, it's too late for your truth. You demand pity after humiliating two ladies? Redemption tour isn't being taken seriously." The numbers told the story. Dot's sponsorship deals disappeared overnight. His show, which had been a steady source of income, was shut down when sponsors stopped funding it. Public appearance schedules were trimmed. One tweet said, "Doug used to be the guy we all respected. He is now only a warning story." Even retired NBA players silently, teammates began unfollowing him. As Doug fumbled Jackie Christie's return, Jackie moved perfectly. Within weeks, she signed a $2 million book contract. The title alone went viral. The Jackie Christie story, The Promise, is a powerful tale of love, deception, and rising above the attempts of the world to bury you. Broken was used to build it. Prior to the publication of the first chapter, pre-orders were flying. Malaysia also lost dormancy. Her team was able to arrange a successful 6-figure relationship with a parenting brand aimed for single moms. In public, she accepted her new persona: personal, quiet, and preparing to become a mother. She ceased posting often. Healthy meals, inspirational quotes, and prenatal check-ins. If the crowd unable to determine if it was only excellent advertising or really therapeutic. However, they saw Jackie Christie's pivotal moment. Jackie planned a luncheon for women's empowerment to celebrate her homecoming. Since the court's notification of her pregnancy, it was her first notable public appearance. She also made a deliberate choice. The scarlet suit she had worn to court was still on her. She was wearing, as immaculate and well-fitted as a battle banner returned from war, she was dressed in the same red costume she had worn to court. When she stepped onto the stage, the room erupted. She let the applause settle and crest before she spoke. She went on to say, "Pain reveals truth." Taking in the scene, "I learned something. And in all honesty, it's never lovely, but it will release you." Knowing when to leave and when to another facet of real freedom is rebuild. She did not cry or give names, but everyone in the room knew exactly who and what she was talking about. Doug had vanished from public life entirely by then. He was also seen photographing himself, checking himself into a private rehabilitation facility a few weeks later. Informally. According to insiders, he was staying in a flat leased by a relative, penniless, and blacklisted. Emotional harm and addiction therapy were the official terms. He's lost everything. He told a gossip blog about someone close to him. Maybe that was what he needed to get his respect, his wife, and his money. Jackie doesn't care whether he develops or not. She stopped bleeding for him. She is sharper, lighter, and untouchable. Not with a man she thought would choose her, but with a new life growing inside of her. Malaysia also makes progress. A future that is inexorably bound to Doug but no longer dictated by him. She seldom publishes and prefers tranquility over chaos. Her captions are succinct yet profound. Peace is the source of power. Between two highways and two women, one guy was burnt to ashes. What began as a controversy was followed by a reckoning. And this is what the world learned by seeing it. A lady who has helped you through tough times doesn't just leave you when she finds out. Therefore, you should never betray her. She rebuilds. It's unclear, however, if this is the end or just the lull before a storm. When it comes to public atonement, loyalty, and treason, nothing is left unsaid. The cameras are still rolling. There is always rumor. Also, a microphone is always present. For the reality, the truth. The truth.